Hi, my name is Jay Oza. I teach, mentor, and coach people on public speaking so that they can get winning high stakes speeches, whether it's one on one in a job interview or in front of a small group, let's say at a business or sales meeting, or before a large crowd at a conference. So, in the last video, I talked about high stakes and how do you deal with that, which was, to summarize, you raise the stakes before, as I think of it as a pre-game, but then you just do the opposite and you just lower the stakes before you get on stage now. Because there's not much you can do. You've got to lower the stakes. You already did all your preparation. Now you got to use it and execute. For execution, you just lower the stakes. Okay? And that's what athletes do. So one of the questions that comes up is like, well, Jay, that sounds great, but when there's an audience there, it's kind of hard, right? So how do you deal with that? Okay, that's a good question actually. That's where the preparation goes. Part of the preparation is when you're preparing, there's no audience, right? You may have one or two people that might give you some kind of critique your performance, but otherwise you're not really speaking in front of audience, and it's not the same thing, by the way. No matter what people tell you, when you're speaking without an audience, it's like you're getting no feedback, and it's tough. Like right now, when I'm speaking before this camera, I get no feedback. I just have to do what I'm doing. So I'm locked in to my performance. I cannot change it because I'm getting no feedback, and that's fine. Camera is not going to give me feedback. So what you do is during the practice or rehearsal, you decide on exactly, and this is where you've done all the work as far as the audience, what type of audience it is, what the venue is, and how you want to create this performance. Once you're on the stage, your performance is locked in. If you get on the stage and you don't know ahead of time how are you going to perform that speech, that content, that message, you're in trouble. You cannot wing it. That's what leads to disaster. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you raise the stakes as we discussed, and then you create a performance that's going to resonate with the audience. And that has to be locked in. Otherwise, you're kind of flying blind. So you've done that. Third is when you get on the stage, you can vary certain parts of the speech as far as, you're not going to come looking like a robot. All your movements are well choreographed. You're going to know exactly what kind of gestures you're going to make if you've rehearsed it well, how you're going to emphasize certain things. And since you're not going to be reading a teleprompter or reading the speech, certain parts of it is just going to flow. But overall, you know different markers where you have to be at a particular time and how you're going to do it. And I always tell people the main parts of any speech comes down to the opening, the transitions, and the closing. The rest of it, it's pretty much how you feel during the speech. Because if you got completely memorized, that's dangerous, which I don't advise because you're not going to come across looking natural. And no speech is ever perfect. You're going to make mistakes. I'm sure I made several in this video, and I'm not going to edit it because when you're speaking in front of people or person or whatever, you don't get to edit it, what you're saying. So you need to practice in doing these recordings in one shot because you don't get a do-over when you're speaking with people, whether it's one-on-one or on stage. You've got to do it in one shot. So a good way to practice is what I'm doing in front of a camera, and don't edit it. That's why I when I edit something, I let people know ahead of time that this video is going to be edited. But this video that I'm recording right now is not going to be edited. It's going to be raw. Because when you speak with people, it's a raw communication. So you got to get used to how you come across when it's a raw communication, one-to-one. Are you engaging? Are you connecting? Okay, getting back to this audience thing. So what do? Once you are on the stage. At this point, the audience doesn't matter. Now, by that, I don't mean you want to be disrespectful for the audience. The audience mattered a lot during the pregame, where you created a speech or and the message and the performance that you felt was going to resonate with the audience. There's not much you can do about it. Now you're on the stage. That part is done. So you at this point see the audience, they're physically there, but you're not focusing on the audience, because that's what leads to problems. And this is no different from what golfers do. A professional golfer is focusing on his game, his score. There's nothing much the other people that he's playing against can do to him, and neither can he do anything to them. So he has to focus on the course and putting and getting the lowest score in a round. That's all he can do. That's all he should focus on. That means that all of the spectators that are there, he has to completely ignore them. Because if he's focusing on them, then he's not focusing on the main thing, which is his game and the course. So sometimes you just want to watch a golfing event just to see. And it's kind of hard because when on TV, they always focus on the players. So you don't get the feeling like how disciplined these athletes are. Like I one time went to a basketball game, and one of the things that just I was amazed was how much concentration these players have. And there's a lot of distraction going around there. Cheerleaders, mascot, music, fans, all kinds of stuff. And they are so focused on their game. I was like really impressed. And that's what you have to do when you're giving a speech. You have to focus on your speech now. The audience doesn't matter. If they are mattering to you when you're speaking, that means you are kind of being distracted. Stay focused on your speech, on your message, on your performance. And the reason for it is simple. Yes, audience matters. They matter before, not during. During, your speech matters. Because if your speech doesn't matter, the audience won't care. For example, when there's an audience there, some of the people didn't show up. Quite a few didn't show up. Okay, the ones that showed up, some of them may leave while you're speaking. So what, are you going to suddenly stop speaking? Or if there are only 10 people there, you're going to say, oh, well, I'm not going to give a speech because I was expecting 100. No, you still stick to your performance. Okay? And then there are people in the audience who may not even be paying attention. They might be using their smartphone. Can't worry about that. You're not going to stop your speech and say, hey, by the way, at this point I'm going to stop till you get off your smartphone. It's not going to work. And then the ones that are listening, they may not do anything. So what does that mean, right? So you can't really worry about the audience once you start speaking. Once you start speaking, it's your speech, it's your message, it's your performance. A good example is actors. At theater, an actor doesn't see the audience. They're there, but he's not going to change his performance because somebody in the audience yells out like, hey, your performance is no good. He's going to stick to his performance because that's what he has rehearsed. The audience, he'll never see them till the end when they do curtain call. But as far as during his performance is concerned, he's so zoned in like a golfer that he has to put in a perfect, as best performance as he possibly can, the way he has rehearsed. Just like what a golfer does. Tries to put the best score on the card at the end of the round. And that's the way you have to view your speech. So I know one of the things that confuses people is they always say, well, you got to really take care of the audience, take care of the audience. You take care of them as far as your preparation and rehearsal is concerned. You can't take care of them while you're on the stage. While you're on the stage, if you've done a good job with your preparation and performance and the rehearsal, stick to it. Be true to that. Trust it. That's the only thing you can do, because if you get off that, you are in big trouble. And don't ever do that. And that's why preparation, rehearsal, practice really matters. So that when you're on stage, the audience is there physically, but you don't even notice them. And that's what leads to good speeches, good performance, and your message resonating with the audience. Okay? I hope this clears up like how to view an audience when you're speaking. You just ignore them. There's not much you can do about it, right? Because this is not an interactive session. You're speaking. When you're speaking, you just ignore the audience. I mean, they're there, but you got to be trust your speech and your performance. That's what you want to focus on at that point. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. And thank you for watching. And try this with one or two people and many when you get a chance. I think this is the way you're going to give a great performance, high stakes performance. Thank you for watching.